I asked my community for songs they'd like to learn more about and had a range of responses. One answer that stood out was Tears for Fears. I'm a fan of many of their songs and thought it would be enjoyable to analyse one of them. Having seen several people on YouTube look at Everybody Wants to Rule the World, I struggled to find many covering their massive hit Shout. So here we are, a deep dive into Shout by Tears for Fears. It was the second single from their studio album, Songs from the Big Chair, released in November 1984. Featuring a repetitive hook and synth drone throughout, Shout is regarded as one of the most recognisable songs from the mid-80s. Co-founder and main songwriter Roland Orzabal describes its beginnings.
And I started programming the Lindrum with my favourite beats from other records like Remain in Light. And it just kind of came out of nowhere. It hit me, the chorus, but that's all it was. It stayed as a chorus for a long time, and I thought it would only remain as a chorus until I took it into the studio and everyone said, nah, we've got to put a verse on that.
The song has two main sections. The A section could be called the chorus, and the B section could be called the pre-chorus or verse. I'll now take each section in turn, so we can dive into the detail behind this classic. As discussed, section A is the chorus. The exact production and instruments change on repeats of the chorus, but the one thing that remains the same is the vocal melody. I'll present it now in HookPad. There's a link in the description if you want to check out HookPad for yourself. The melody only uses 3 notes, G, D and C. It starts on G in the first bar whilst the words shout are being sung. Then in bar 2 it rises up to use D and C. The note lengths are a mixture of eighth and quarter notes. Looking at the melody in isolation here, the song could be in the key of G major or the key of G minor. If I put some basic chords underneath the melody, we can listen to the difference in sound this would create. First up is the key of G minor with the 1, 6 and 4 chords. And now the key of G major with the 1, 6 and 4 chords. So we'll need some more clues to reveal what key the song is in. The meaning of this chorus has been debated since its release. In interviews, the band seems to indicate that it's a call to action, making your voice heard when you disagree with the way your world is heading in an effort to effect change.
A coy reference to Primal Scream, but also just a simple song about protest. So you could see the transition, the slow transition from the personal perspective to a more social and political perspective, and Shout is the linchpin because the big song that came after that was pretty much purely political, so the Seat of Love.
As the vocal melody kicks in, we also have 2 other elements that make up the first part of the chorus. Firstly, there's the programmed drums. Alongside this, there is a simple synth bass that creates a sense of dread. The bass here is really just simple single notes that are held, but the synth doubles the voice and slightly detunes it. I don't have enough knowledge of synths to recreate it accurately here, but if you want the full lowdown, then check out the fantastic channel and website Reverb Machine, link in the description. Let's have a listen to the bass now. You can see that the bass notes are simply sustained for 2 bars each, and then change. They are G, E flat and C. So only one new note is introduced here from the vocal melody, E flat. This rules out the possibility of the key being G major. This points us towards the true key of the song, G minor. Have you got a song that you want to deep dive into? Let me know in the comments below and your choice could feature in a future video. Into the verse or pre-chorus now, and I'll start with the vocal melody. As with the rest of the song, we have nice and simple repeating melodic phrases. Compared to the chorus, there's a little more variation, with the use of dotted quarter note lengths and the introduction of the F note. The highest note in the melody now becomes G, which is also the tonic note of the scale. These high notes hit before the end of the melodic phrases, which gives the key lines in the verse a real melancholy as they descend back down. The bass in this section has also made a change. It is more upbeat and rhythmic, alternating between B flat and C notes. There's also the introduction of an airy synth to the mix. This R1 sound is a recognisable choir sound that was popular with many 80s artists. Again, it uses a few notes simply, in this case G, D and F. Once this sound comes in, it remains in the mix to varying degrees for the rest of the song. For the second verse / pre-chorus, we can hear the first outing of a live instrument. A clean electric guitar is heard playing simple B flat major and C major chords that follow the bass line. In Roman numeral terms, this would be 3 to major 4, which is a borrowed chord from the parallel major key. Here they are tabbed out in Guitar Pro. Follow the link in the description to grab a copy of Guitar Pro for yourself. And here I am playing them. This is another part in the gradual layering up of the song. Now that the clean guitar has featured in the verse, it is introduced to the next chorus at 2 minutes and 10 seconds. This time a funky rhythmic set of double stops played on the B and E strings. This uses chromatic notes from outside of the G natural minor / Aeolian scale, and they only feature briefly, as sometimes the guitar plays rhythmic muted strings where the A and E notes would be heard. Listen to them in this example, along with the slide from fret 1 to fret 3. The song takes an interesting turn around 2 minutes 43 with an extended instrumental part, or section C. It starts with a change in percussion and a repeating riff that uses G, F and B flat. As Reverb Machine noted, it's comprised of layered up samples working together to create an interesting Middle Eastern sounding section. This is due more to the pitch gliding nature of one of the layers rather than the simple notes being played from the G minor scale. Then we hear an organ solo part, followed by a bass solo. Despite a real bass featuring in the music video, and Roland Orzabal and Kurt Smith both able to play the bass, it is actually created with a Yamaha DX7. This was another popular synth during the 80s. Then we crash back into the chorus with added backing vocals. And then an altered verse / pre-chorus, another chorus, and then a guitar solo. The guitar solo strictly uses the G natural minor / Aeolian scale. It provides a real cut through towards the end of the song, injecting drama and some great melodic lines. I'm not going to play the whole solo or tab it all out here, there are other brilliant creators who have done this on YouTube already, but I want to highlight and discuss a couple of interesting parts of this section. The first part of the solo mimics the riff heard with the airy choir synth detailed earlier in the video. Then the part that really grabs my ear follows. The mixture of note lengths here and descending down the G minor scale towards the tonic creates a dynamic skipping riff that features throughout the solo. Then the solo moves on to an intense higher note with lots of vibrato and a smooth high line that leads back down to the skipping riff we discussed. We then go into section A to fade. The ending choruses have all of the parts, including a continuation of some solo riffs and some extra backing vocals. This creates an epic, big sounding crescendo to the song. If this has inspired you to start songwriting, then check out the video on screen, and I'll see you over there.